morning once again. Yeah, good morning all of you. Now, we are all living in the world which is highly dynamic. It's highly volatile. Things are keep changing. Especially this community, this millennial people, you are living in the network age. Your pattern of thinking and way of life, everything become different. There was a traditional concept called lifelong guaranteed employment with a company. When you interact with your forefathers and your parents, they stick on with the company for 20 to 30 years and get retired. But now things become totally different, because we all colleges, in many colleges in whole India, we advertise that 90% of the people are placed into various companies, but there is no data that how many students are stick on into the same company after a year. Because things are keep changing, the skill which you have today becomes irrelevant tomorrow. So you have to keep update yourself. Moreover, industrial dynamics are totally different. Technological aspects are keep improving. Business becomes so complex. You need an outstanding skill to tap up and cope up with the present expectation of the corporate and sustain in the company to deliver us a better results. Just keeping this concept in our mind, today we are planning to have a CXO table combining industrial expert as well as an educational expert. Most of the occasions, even that industry and the institutions are sitting poles apart. Unless otherwise we merge together in a common platform, so we cannot make and create a better citizens, right? So with this, we are entering into the topic. So now, first of all, an educational institution or industry, we have to aware that who is maybe that modern workforce or what is global workforce. Unless otherwise we know about it, we cannot understand about it actually. So let me start with Mr. Devasenabadi, Babu Devasenabadi. Can you throw some light? Yeah, according to you, right, what is global workforce? Can you define?
Well, my view is earlier a global workforce was a guy who used a globetrotter and all that. Today it has become hyper-local. So anybody from anywhere can be a global workforce. But all that is important is high level of communication skills, excellent networking, and digital savvy guy. So that's my understanding.
Okay. Excellent, sir. Can I get an opinion from Gopal?
Yeah, sure. I think I just agree whatever has been said, but I think the global workforce means that how you have equipped yourself to deal with the today everybody is working overseas, everybody travels there. So one should be prepared to have an international educational qualification. Not only that, you should always have develop a soft skill which will part of the pool of the global workforce. So it's very important that global workforce is available to anyone who joins any multinational.
Yeah, great to know, sir. So if at all, if you get an opinion from an academic expert, right, who served for a quite long years, right, so can I get an opinion from Dr. Vijula Chinadi on this?
Good morning and happy to be here. Thank you, Dr. Vishal Murthy. I just wanted for the students, let me tell you, there was a recent report from Deloitte which talked about the future workforce, and a couple of things what they have told in Deloitte, which was a very international report survey which was done, and they mapped what would be the future workforce. Maybe 2 years from now you might actually step into the workforce, but you have another 20, 30 years along in your career. So what would your workplace be? How would it be? How different would it be? So they did a survey and they identified 4 different worlds of industry. One is called as the red world, the other one is the blue world, yellow world, green world. I would encourage all of you to go back and read a little more about this, because this is what is the which is happening. Now what is this red world? So we are talking about the industry, how the industry is actually divided into these worlds. The red world, how they have defined is, This is the highly innovative group. It is a niche organizations which comes up with so many innovations, and this particular world requires high innovators. Need not be big organizations, they may be even people-less organizations, there may be pivotal employees who will be working, and these are high innovators. I just saw in a report saying there is a creativity club or center innovation club. Now this is certain areas where you may want to look at. So this is one, high innovators. The second world, what they call is the blue world. The blue world is the big corporate giants which are coming up, and what kind of employees that they would want. Obviously, they are looking at very high performers, high deliverable abilities to ensure that the big companies are going forward to make that kind of an impact. So the first one is more of incubation, innovation, entrepreneurship, etc. The second one is getting into the big corporate world, the blue world. The third one is what they call as the yellow world. Yellow world are organizations which are not highly profit oriented but more socially conscious. You can look at UN, you can look at UNESCO or Indian big socially oriented organizations who has a profit maybe as a motive, but they also look at the society. How do I make the society better? So as engineers, you may be thinking about world one, red world and blue world, but there's a huge opportunity in the yellow world also. The fourth one is what they call as the green world. Green world is where the organizations look more at sustainability. Today, climate change and sustainability are huge. And today, climate change and sustainability cannot be separated from engineering. It includes human behavior, it includes engineering. So what can be your role in that kind of a climate change and sustainability? So these are the four worlds that you're looking at. And each of the world requires different kinds of workforce. And how are we going to step into that world? So that's my opening thought on the future workforce. Thank you.
Great to hear, madam, like different type of world. I think it's the right input for all of you to explore into that. Probably that will help you to make your career into that particular direction. As per madam's request, I also request to go back and just Google it, what are the different world and make yourself to fit for that. So now just I welcome Mr. Anthony to throw some light on this concept.
Thanks to SNS and to Business Solutions. If you take it to the different perspective of the business, presently there is a very competitive world. We are in the competitive world. In such a case, we require the global presence all over the world. In this scenario, the international pool of workers and the people are working in the MNC with connected with through systematic approach way, systematic way. These all considered as the global workforce. Ma'am rightly said that green part of industry. As an MNC, if you, for example, in Coimbatore, in India, the people, those who are declared as MNC, they are in the position to incorporate the GRA report. Unless otherwise the GRA report is not complied, the P&L will not be certified by the Government of India. In such a cases, the global workforce methodology already inculcated in our Indian culture also. But where we are getting prepared, that is, we will discuss later. Thank you.
Okay, it's a great school of thought. Can I get an opinion or throw some light on that, Mr. Karthi?
Good morning to everyone, and thanks Mr. Satish for giving me this wonderful platform. Yes, I agree with all the panelists who has told about the global workforce. I just have only one point. To become a successful global workforce, cultural aspect plays a major role. So according to me, like in my own experience of 12 years, so currently I'm with Voltas, and my current employer, we are currently associated with multinational companies, with Japan and with Europe and other Germany countries. So there is a company called Shimachiki, which is a Japanese-based company. So we just had a partnership with a Japanese company around 4 years back. And initially it was very difficult because Japanese, they will be 100% perfect and they expect us to be more perfect. So that was one thing. Initially it was very quite difficult, and over a period of time we could able to overcome that kind of situation. And what I'm trying to say is, convey is, cultural aspect is one thing which is more important to become a successful global workforce. That's one thing I just want to convey. That's it.
Happy to hear, Karthi. I think an organization culture is an important ingredient that will decide about the success and failure of the company. So with this understanding, we're all moving into another area. Like always there is a saying that there is a skill gap among the workforce, right? Present workforce as well as the workforce that happened in an earlier also. Whenever these people are employed, the people say that. So now, unless otherwise we aware what is an expected skill set from an industry to perform well, then what might be the present gap? So that might be a great light will throw to an academic people to take some considerable steps or constructive steps to bridge this gap and make our student as a better industry ready student, right? So with this concept, let me welcome Mr. Senavadi. Can you throw some light on what is the present expected skill set, and according to you, what is the present gap?
Today's world, we believe ubiquitous learning. So learn, unlearn, relearn is what we need to focus on. The one reason why I say that is we do not know what technology is going to be coming in future. Close to a year back, we heard about Meta. I don't know how many of you are following. Facebook changed its name to Meta. And today, marriages are happening in Metaverse. And yesterday, I saw a company was saying, you know, you could live perpetually forever on Metaverse by recording your video, your voice, and kind of stuff. So, academic institution cannot gear up to all these emerging technologies because the industry itself is at large. They are also groping in the dark about where the businesses will come. So the ability to learn anything faster is what I thought is a skill that we need to inculcate. I think that if we can prepare the students for that, I think any industry should be able to employ them, and if they are confident that the new hirees will be able to learn anything new. For those in computers now, they are saying no code, low code. So C, C++, Java, I don't know how long they are going to survive. So it's in the cusp of a dramatic transformation.
Yeah, great to hear, sir. According to him, the technology is ruling the world. Slow and steady will not work out. It's fast and perfect. Just make and tune yourself according to the technological development. So with this understanding, let's move to Mr. Gopal. Can you throw some light on this?
So I just want to understand, everybody can hear us because there are a lot of people talking, so I hope you guys are understand what we're talking. So can I request you to please repeat the question?
See, always there is a gap between expected skill set and actual skill set. So if you have identified this particular gap, probably you can train yourself in a better mode during their academic platform.
Yeah, thanks, Arpit. So I just want to understand from the student perspective also, because I don't want to say the number of years, 40 years back, I was a student sitting like that and some people are talking or whatever sort of a thing we're discussing. So I personally feel that identify the gaps is very important. Current situation, including me, it's very hard to identify what is my weakness. How do I get into the right platform to improve that? So understanding that is very important. Then second is whether the current studies which I'm doing is fulfilling my requirement to get me to the next goal of your life. It could be opening a business or getting overseas or going into the higher education or getting an employment. Until and unless you put that goal in front of you, it's very hard to achieve what you wanted. Because all the institute, everybody will be teaching you which is there in the available in the curriculum. So you have to come out of that, and apart from that your curriculum or academic, you have to develop that. So my way of looking that is identify the gap, work on that and achieve the goal which you wanted, not the somebody else wanted for you. That's what I think. Thank you.
It's totally a different school of thought. Just remove everything, don't bother others, fix the goal post, develop your skill, towards that make it happen, right? Great to hear that. Now just I invite madam to share some of his ideas, her ideas on that.
So as very rightly said, technology, artificial intelligence, data is what is ruling the world today. So we hear so much about AI, and if you look at AI, it can form into three segments. It can be assisted AI, like you put your GPS when you drive. It could be augmented AI, which supports or it does certain things which might be able to aggregate. It could be your Ubers, Olas, which the AI supports you. Or it could be a completely autonomous AI, like autonomous vehicles, driverless cars. I hope you read one very funny incident which happened in the US where a driverless car actually went on its own, police had to stop. So these are the kinds of things which are happening, and this is, as very rightly said by Dr. Babu, very evolving industry, very evolving scenario. So industry is catching up, and education sector, which is behind, it has a real big gap in this. So how do we actually equip ourselves, or where is the gap? While we all learn subjects, while we all learn courses, Deloitte says there are two kinds of things which any student requires today, or any employee including like me who's working in an organization requires. One is the skills. Skills are very specific to the jobs. It could be a language, it could be coding, it could be whatever it is, specific to the jobs, which can be time bound. When the technology is evolving like this, your skill today might not be relevant for tomorrow. But then Deloitte talks about another skills, another set, which is called as the enduring capabilities. Enduring capabilities are the inbuilt capabilities which will help you whatever be the change which is happening in the industry. Because what we learn in textbook today may be relevant today, tomorrow. So how do we actually build these enduring capabilities? Enduring capabilities, some examples which I would like to give you are critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, analytical thinking. Whatever be the job, whatever be the sector, these are required. Because remember, it's transboundary. Today you may be working in one sector, and that skill maybe or may not be useful for the next sector. So building this enduring capability is important. As students, I'm sure that we will talk a little more on that. As faculty members, we need to build the enduring capability so that we transfer it to the students. As administrators, we need to see how do we embed this into an education system. So skills is one basket, but enduring capabilities which will take you through life in your career is very important to build. Thank you.
So it was expressed rightly an importance of an artificial intelligence. Even that morning when I was reading a newspaper, that I have referred to incidents. One is pilot is replaced, autopilot system is introduced, height of an artificial technology. Another TV channel in China, they introduced robots with the help of artificial intelligence. So that much amount of application in the field of artificial intelligence. So Madam, she is rightly pointing out the skill set, the scope required. Another point is very interesting. Time-bounded skill set, the skill which you possess will become irrelevant tomorrow. There is a book called, that was written by Alvin Toffler in 1970. The book is called Future Shock. He was rightly told, uneducated people in today's environment, who is not able to read and write, who is not able to learn technology, then unlearn technology and relearn technology. Right? Unless otherwise you equip yourself continuously, nothing will happen. I think it's a great thought and eye-opener for all of you to define yourself in what way you have to travel with this. So let me invite Mr. Anthony to throw some light on this concept.
The way we are discussed about that, what are the skills gaps identified the system. But if you are entered into the employment opportunity, the way of capturing the skill gap, it is entirely different. We have a system to 9-box analysis and position profile, that competency of the individual, what kind of competency is required another 2 years or later on the technology updation and other thing. It can be made it will be adopted based on the requirement of the future requirements. But in the case of academic, I don't know what kind of system you are practicing to enhance the competency of the existing faculties and other members. But in corporate, we have a systematic approach, because unless otherwise you are not able to update the skill, upskill the employee, then the presence of your industry no way is going to be continued in future. But especially in the scope for academic part, you are all the people get prepared by the faculty. The what methodology you want to adopt it in the academic, it really required look into the different view. See, in the corporate we used to identify TNI. Once in 6 months we have rescheduled the activities and evaluate the training activities. That means in the self-evaluation, all the things we are doing. The same kind of academic upgradation is also focused into identify the skill gap between the expected corporate from the faculty level, sir.
Something, it's very interesting to hear a different school of thought. Don't be reactive, be proactive. What he said rightly, don't make and prepare the student for the skill set which is expected now. Just forecast. After 2 years what will happen, after 5 years what will happen really in an industry. Develop the student and develop your skills according to that, then you will be in a great position. I think it's a great school of thought, right? So with this concept, so I expect Karthi to share some of his opinion on that.
Yes, no doubt, technology is ruling the world. So more than technology, there are a few other points I just want to cover. One is on the stress tolerance, where people are undergoing tremendous stress in nowadays. That's one thing which I want to cover, and wherein people have to equip something related to how to manage the stress and how to overcome the stress. And second thing is on the decision making. So when it comes to decision making, people are slightly taking aside and people are pushing the ball to the other one. So that's one thing which I want, people to enhance their knowledge on, enhance their skill sets on the decision making part. And next thing is on the critical thinking and this complex problem solving. So these are all certain challenges where I am facing on the day-to-day activity in my corporate experience. So that's it.
Yes. What Karthi said, like corporate world become multi-complex and it need a multi-skilling, that you're supposed to do a multitask. While making an attempt to do the multitasking, sometimes the people experiencing the stress, that is a buzzword, quite common we are hearing from the corporate. So you develop the skills parallelly, apart from that academic skills, how to cope up with the stress, right? So with this understanding, we are moving for another concept. So here we have taken two pillars, educational institutions as well as organizations or corporates. But apart from that, there are other communities also, right? Other institutions also, it's playing a role, right? We are interdependent with that. As a community as a whole, right, we are connected with that, right? So there are a lot of other agencies also connected with that. So now I want some opinion from an expert, whether as a community as a whole, whether we are all aware that what is the expected or what we are doing really as an industry. So what it is needed from the student to expect or complete that task in the most successful way, right? So can I get an opinion from Mr. Dr. Devasenapati?
As long as community, I believe if we are looking at a general community outside, they need not even know what is to be done. But when industry or education understands what is the gap, I think some entrepreneurs will come who will fill the gap. So a lot of skilling platforms have started coming. They have identified the gaps. They are trying to serve the market. So that way, I think entrepreneurs will come up and do that. But if you, to answer your question in specific with Coimbatore as a point, there is a culture of entrepreneurship in this city. So if there are problems, there are a lot of people willing to solve it and make a business out of it and employ people out of it. So if each city can make a unique culture for itself, that could be on the support role. But I would say, entrepreneurs are needed to address those issues. That's my point.
Okay. We are evolving in a city-specific area, right? Okay. So with this thought, we are trying to get an international perspective from the man. He's traveled across countries.
Yeah, I think it's very, very rightly said. It has to be local and global. If you do not have a right perspective locally, it's very hard to get into the international level or global level. So community can actually help in terms of building skills. It's not only the academic, it's a soft skills, which is required to be built over a period of time. Interaction, social interaction is so important. Getting into any kind of a debating kind of a scenario, any platform which can help you to access to different places, or how community can help is actually making sure that you are aligned socially and internationally, locally, both ways, so that it will go into the next level. But it's very hard, it's easy to say, but it's very hard to get into the right. It's a very difficult question, but you guys have to decide yourself. I myself has taken a journey 20 years back, and or maybe 30 years back when I came from north to south. It was a total change for me. It's the community which helped me. How they helped me? Because I became the member of some associations, became the member of some other thing. Similarly, when 20 years back, I moved out of Tamil Nadu to Australia, or first New Zealand, it is a total change. Until and unless those people, hand-holding is required, right? That's my perspective of talking about, right?
Yeah.
The community is important. How you treat community is very different. Are you looking at community to help you to get a job? Are you looking at community to sharpen your skills? Are you looking at community to overall be part of that? So my objective or my suggestion would be part of that community. Learn from them, and then you can pass it on to them. That's it. Thank you.
So in a nutshell, social interaction between the local and international will pave the way. So great to hear, sir. So let me get an opinion from a great academic expert, Dr. Shugila Madam.
The purpose of education is to create value to the society. The ultimate bottom line. It could be, you could be an entrepreneur, as you were saying, or you could be working in one of the biggest companies. Ultimately, the purpose is, while we have our selfish reasons of our own life, but ultimately to create value for society. And when we look at education, there are different stakeholders. There is the industry, there is the community, there is the government. All these people influence what you and I learn today, or what you and I do today, both at the regional and at the global level. I would just put one thought on this when we are looking at communities. You know, many times education is so isolated. It's boxed within the classroom. 8:30 to 4:30, I learn, I go back. But imagine what happens if I look at community as the lab. Today we are learning something about electronics. Tomorrow you are going and doing something in the house of what you have done in the class. Or going to a village and saying, okay, let me save some water saving systems in that particular community. You're converting the community, the society, into a lab where you can go and experiment. Because this experimentation may not be allowed so much in an industry because they have the strict expectations. But you go with this experimentation, go there, there's going to be a great transformation. So I would flip it and say, look at the community as your lab. Go out as much as possible. Go and do something in the community to experiment the skills that you have learned, so that you become better, in a competitive industry environment. Thank you.
Great to hear that education should not be in a cubicles or in a classroom between 9 to 5. So whatever you learn, everything, just go to the society and experience, get an exposure and come back. So that will become a permanent learning, right? So with this ideology, so let's welcome Mr. Anthony to share his idea.
Normally, I had one experience with one of the reputed institute in Coimbatore. We have conducted the campus in the 2010 and issued the offer to the students to join in the Pune. It's one of the reputed institute. I don't want to name the institution name, but what we really got surprised, the students not ready to join that industry. Then we inquired with the institution and asked about why the people are hesitate to join in Pune. Pune is nowhere, you are speaking about the global, but even not ready to move interstate or in national level, how do you expect the things going to be positive for your life? See, we came to understand that the people have the barrier to mingle with the language, as otherwise the culture means how you adopt with the community. It is very, very important. If you are placed in the company, you will get the opportunity to involve the community activity through the CSR. We, as a Kirloskar, it is a mandatory for us to involve the employee into the CSR activity. Unless otherwise, CSR is not only in the scope of HR, it is in the scope of every employee. If really anybody is interested, at the time of COVID, 2020, almost Kirloskar spent 10 lakhs rupees to the society to contribute through our employees only. We are not hired any NGOs, we are not hired any kind of institution for extend the support to the community. When the people involve into the community, they can understand what is going on, how the society is, especially in Tamil Nadu, people are well aware. But you are involving into other state, you are ready to move forward, then you will get a lot of changes in your life. Be ready for the thing.
I remember once Lenin said, mobility makes people, right? There is no indigenous, only global. So just prepare to travel and get experience, especially CSR, right? CSR is one thing. We have taken many things from the society, let's learn to give back to the society, right? At least for that cause, just you should improve your mobility to serve back to the society. With this understanding, let's just move on to Karthi to share his ideas.
Yes. So communities means everyone will accept and believe Tata Group is mainly known for serving back to communities, and Voltas is also part of Tata Group, and we also have a big team in Voltas as a CSR. And how we do in CSR is we have a skill development centers, not only to the internal people. So we are organizing some kind of programs to the people who is at the poverty level, and we make sure that they are making them to learn something on their self-employment like tailoring or something like that. And we ensure all the people has to do some work and they have to own by their own hand. That's one thing I just want to convey the community perspective. And second thing, I agree with Mr. Antony's point. Even we also face similar challenges on the relocation point of view. Even many offer dropouts happen at the last moment. After we release the offer, we wait for the candidate to join. After 2 months, last moment the candidate will come say, I have some family issues and all the personal issues which I cannot relocate. So this is one issue and challenges which we are facing. Not only we, all the organizations across the world are facing this issue. That's it I want to convey.
Yeah, according to the Karthi, two important things. Be flexible and be dynamic. You can succeed in anything, right? Nice to hear. So with this understanding, here and there industry people are making noise and just coming out with an expectation, right? So these are all the expectations from the students community when they coming into the corporate. Once they step into corporate, they started paying you from a day one. You are expected to deliver from the day one. So unless otherwise this is taking place in the classroom, that may not be happen when they go to an industry. So this question is specific to academic experts. What skill really we are teaching to the students in the classroom or in the college? So can I get an opinion from Deva sir?
Okay, before I proceed further, students, if you are wondering why this talk show is for you, you are going to be employed in an industry. What they expect is what we are trying to learn here. And the experts are sharing viewpoints so that and the skill namakita illena in the next placement season varradukula how to develop it. So that's the idea of this session. So instead of being mute spectators, maybe you could take points, maybe you could raise questions after the session is over. Now coming back to your question, I was just putting perspectives in place. Coming back to the question, what colleges are doing? Here I would like to take a minute to tell what SNS did, and I hope a lot of good colleges are doing similar activities in Coimbatore and elsewhere as well. In 2018, we went to Singapore along with students, a bunch of faculty and technical director Dr. Nalan. I was also part of the trip. We went to some of the world's best universities. One is National University of Singapore, Nanyang Technical University, Singapore University of Technology and Design, Curtin University at Singapore, and also visited Accenture Liquid Studio. So what we understood was, we were trying to understand what the world leaders are doing to bridge the gap and how their pedagogies are different from ours. So we did a detailed survey And after discussion with Accenture and all these universities, parallelly, few other faculty teams were also traveling to different other parts of the country to bring tie-ups and to bring the knowledge back. Then we sat as a team and analyzed, like Vijala ma'am was rightly pointing out, this design thinking, innovation, these are all the cornerstones we need to address. So SNS implemented a 5-pillar approach. One is Center for Creativity and Design, Center for Learning and Teaching, both of those pillars which I am heading for the group of institutions, Center for Career Development, Industry Institute, and corporate social initiatives. So based on these pillars, activities were mandated for all the classes. So they should be operating on all these 5 pillars through their subjects. Slowly they were trained in such a way that each faculty will take responsibility to see that activities on all these 5 pillars are happening. So we thought that would be part of the holistic education for the student. Like you rightly said, we reached out to the community, made the students serve the community. And we also realized design thinking was a philosophy used for innovative problem solving, where the customer focused approach was there. So SNS evolved a design thinking framework for education in 2019, and we revamped the syllabus curriculum of all our campuses. From 2019 onwards, we are following a design thinking framework of education, where interaction with industry is mandated as part of the syllabus. So if we can bring life skills and holistic education into the mainstream instead of only being mark focused, I think that will help the entire society and each individual who walks into the college which follows that, to shine out in future. So these are my viewpoints.
One of the very, very valuable concept the sir was highlighted, holistic development. When you see people, they are good at certain things and bankrupt in many things. So holistic development, life skill as well as a technical skill. So one of the important thought. Another important concept he has thrown is creativity. That alone will make an individual into the roof. For example, founder of WhatsApp, right? Once they applied to the Facebook, that company HR, they rejected. They stated that that was a brutal mail was written to them. So your capacity is not suitable to employ you. So after that, they sat themselves for an year. They invented a concept called WhatsApp. Then first Toy Story, right, was invented by the John Lasseter. So he was also thrown out from the company only because of the creativity. That was the first animated movie that was ever happened in this world, right? So creativity is such an important area. So you all can focus on that in your respective field. So that will make you as a successful personality. That might be maybe an important concept. You can all try for that. So thanks for your great school of thought, sir. So let me get an opinion from Dr. Vijala Kennedy, madam. So what type of skills really we are teaching in the college?
Mr. Antoine was talking about a passing statement. I wouldn't know how many of you caught it. He talked about a 9-boxer in companies, what they use. What is this 9-boxer? There are 2 parameters to it. One is, what is your current performance? How have you done now, past year, currently? The second is the potential. What is the potential that you have for growth? And they place you in different areas. And he was asking a very important question. I don't know whether education institutions do that. We don't do that. We have that at the back of our mind. We do it sometimes for the faculty. 9-boxer is done for the faculty to see their performance. But let me tell for the students, now how do we talked about certain skills, he talked about creativity, he talked about problem solving. So how do we actually build that into our day-to-day life? When you're in classroom in 4 years, how do we build it? Okay, everybody talks about problem solving, so should it be taught as a 12-hour course? Should it be taught as a 30-hour course? While fundamentals may be taught, how do you take your everyday practice as building these skills? You're given a seminar, a group seminar. Many times we think, okay, it is for 5 marks, it is for 7 marks, let me prepare something, copy something and do it. Actually, the purpose of a seminar is to build certain skills. If it is a team, it's collaboration. How do you negotiate with everybody and say who's going to do what, who's going to do the presentation? It builds your communication skills. It builds your critical thinking. It builds your analytical thinking. How do I orderly present it? It builds your questioning skills. It builds your answering questions skills. So how do we actually take each component that you are doing, look at it very differently. Don't look at it from an academic perspective. We always think, it's a seminar, it's a test. Even if it is the boring test that you may want to write, it is the ability for you to express, articulate. Today, articulation is so important. One is the oral articulation. Go and ask the industry. They want people who can articulate very well in a report. Everyday reports are asked. If you are not able to articulate what you have studied, how are you going to creatively put a report for the top management who may want to see it in 10 minutes? How is it visualized? So look at every activity which is given in a class as a skill building exercise rather than an academic exercise of 5 marks and 10 marks. Take leadership in the class. When a faculty might come inside and ask, hey, I want some volunteer to do this. Nobody wants to do it because, oh my God, they will ask me to do this. I'll have to do this. Why aren't we looking at it like that? This is a platform for you to practice the leadership skill. So we all know what skills are required. We always say, what I learn in school or what I learn in college, industry does not want. But you know what? Institutions like this create that environment. It is up to the individual to develop. How do I look at it in a different perspective rather than looking at it as marks? So the ball is in your court. In fact, you should go back and ask the faculty saying, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we do a debate in the class? Why don't we go and visit the local panchayats to understand what is happening in the local panchayat? Why don't we do an internship beyond our academic requirement? During summer holidays, I just want to go and work in Kirloskar. Go talk to them and say, I want to be a part of your CSR project. Plenty of opportunities are there to build the skill. It's only the flipping of the mind of students which is required. Thank you.
Very, very practical way of explaining this or approaching this concept. An important light it was thrown, you all have to reinstate in your mind and carry it in your life path. Education should not be confined only with a classroom. All the people, those who are succeeded in their respective field were able to travel an extra mile. Do it, experiment it, explore it, learn further. There were a lot of platforms there, so that's what Madam was telling. An important example that I have come across recently, after the demise of Steve in Apple, there was a hunting process that went up for 3 months. And the whole company was analyzed. Is there anybody, a better person is available to take care of this company like a Steve Jobs? It was identified and appointed as a Tim Cook because he is the first person, he is only one person in the company. He used to come to the company always 1 hour early. When he used to leave the company off, always 1 hour late. He is able to travel an extra mile. Then the person, he used to have the meeting on Sunday evening for a brief 30 minutes and he explained what to do in the next 1 week. So this is what even you also, what Madam said, like when you are able to travel an extra mile and equip yourself and improve lot of skills, you will become an excellent personality and most wanted personality of an individual, right? So with this concept, let's move on to another area. So here there are 3 type of people, right? Mr. Gopal is here, he is into upskilling, right? Then here it is an industry, these people are going to absorb you, right? Going to extend an employment to you, right? Another people, actually set of people from a rich academic areas, academic experts, they are training you, then developing you, they are teaching you, right? So unless otherwise there is a collaboration takes place, unless otherwise we meet in a common platform and experience and discuss our plan, so these things will not materialize. So can you throw some light on whether really this collaboration is taking place?
That's a good question. I think there are national bodies like NASSCOM, CII, and even locally Codicia. These are industry bodies which even give out what are the future skill requirements and where the companies are going. So, and they are also happy to collaborate with colleges. NASSCOM of late has created a lot of platforms for student engagement, like your hackathons and coding contests. Some companies are willing to help in the syllabus framing for what is needed for the future. I think it has started happening. Maybe the speed has to pick up. That's what is my opinion. It is happening, but more is desired. If, like Mr. Anto was saying, if each company is like part of CSR, if they say, okay, I'm going to reach out to one college and try to see what I can do, if that happens, and from the industry side, we should also go and knock the door. So both, if it starts happening, I think a beautiful ambience will set in.
So it starts happening, we have to travel furthermore.
Yes,
Okay.
it has started happening already.
Okay, right. So let me get an opinion from a skill expert, upskilling expert.
Yeah, good. That is a very good question, and I think this is top of the mind of everyone today. Collaboration is very important, and as you rightly pointed out, the three wheels which are there, one is academic, one is the corporate, one is the people who are making sure that the people academically qualified should get the right kind of a skill to get in the right job. So it has to be a synergy between three of them. And the most important job is for the people who wants to upskill you to the next level. So they are the people who understand the education system and also the requirement of the corporate. International level or national level, I've seen, as he mentioned about NASCOM or other organization, but internationally it is really visible, people are doing it. I can tell you about Australia, India Business Council, that's the one organization which comes to my mind, but there are so many other organizations is trying to build that gap and trying to upskill you to the level where the corporate wanted what skill they want. I'm sure you know that how many IT companies are exporting skills offshore. How they have been able to match, why one company can match the skill set required by the international company and the other companies can't, because they are visionary, they understand what will happen tomorrow and they give those sort of a training to their employees. I've seen all the big IT companies, I work for a couple of big IT companies, they are actually training their employees to get those skills which they have never acquired in their academic period, or they have been able to deliver in their existing job, how they can upskill them to go to the next level. So I think these are all three areas which everybody has to be working on. Unless we have a collaboration, it's just not working. To understand each other's
Yes,
requirements.
yes, we understood the importance of upskilling. So with this, let me welcome Dr. Vijila Madam to throw some light on this.
I would just like to focus on the industry academia collaboration as such. Today, maybe we sit in forums like this, we say hello and then we go back. Or our students go for projects and they are happy, they are not happy. Sadly, many times this connect, whether it is in India or in the West. Wherever it is, there is always the divide, but maybe certain universities are doing much better than certain other institutions. Now, I think building deeper associations with the industry is very important. And many times when we say building deeper association, we as faculty think that, okay, all students should go and do projects, all students should go and do internships. Now, my question would be for me and my colleagues and for the teachers, how much do I go and collaborate with a company? How many times have I walked into Kirloskar or Voltas and said, okay, what is it that you're doing? Let me learn first and let me go and understand what is happening and then take it back to the classroom or encourage. Now this divide, I think companies will be slightly more open if that kind of a quality of people. Today, all Western universities build that consultancy, build that collaboration because all professors are mandated to be part of industry, company, or many of them have their own companies. So they bring in the rich experience back into the classroom and the professors are updated with whatever is happening. Now that's a huge gap that is there. We have our ego saying, yeah, I know everything. And you think also saying, okay, is it going to be a waste of time if I'm going to take a faculty as an intern? I always strongly believe that faculty should come as interns, not students. Students will go at one level. But can I work with you for 3 months? You may have to pay, you may not have to pay. It could be anything. Even the institution should be able to sponsor because I bring back that rich learning with me. So I think certain models should evolve like this so that deeper associations are there. And as Dr. Babu was saying, can there be mentorship? Can there be platforms which can bring in that kind of a mentorship? You adopt maybe 5 colleges and say, okay, these 5 colleges as a CSR, we'll be able to look at what you do as a curriculum, how do you train students, how do you skill students, we will observe you for certain things, etc. So deeper collaborations are missing. What Western universities have succeeded to a certain extent, like in MIT or Harvard, is exactly because of this. So I think I would take one layer up and we would take the responsibility, blame, saying we have not done enough.
Very, very practical approach, madam. I think it is a news for all the faculties and educational institutions. So we are supposed to travel an extra mile and knock the door of various companies and equip ourselves parallelly, just make an interest or inculcate the learning habit among the students. So that's a great school of thought. So with that, let me welcome Anthony to share his ideology.
Rightly ma'am said, I intended to say the way the professors or the lecturers connected with the industry, not in the expected part. Because we ask the students to go to the industry, search, you can get the place for whatever internship or project, you have to go and get it done. Such a way the curriculum is defined. I don't know whether in your college you will get facilitated by your department faculty or not, but most of the industries, most of the institutions like only they insisted to the students to go to the industry and get the internship or placement, project in other part, industry visit. But how often the faculties get connected, it is a big question mark. As of now, few peoples only get connected with us as in a corporate in Kirloskar. Rightly ma'am said, in the scope of CSR part, we always allow the students to go come for the industrial visit and project and internship. Internship not in the stipend basis, only in the free of thing. And we are also proposed, I would like to recommend, I would like to propose to my management to take some colleges, adopt some colleges especially. Definitely we will do it. As an Kirloskar, we are ready to extend the support to the institutions. But the previous question, I want to touch one important thing. Whenever the HR used to conduct the interview, what expect from the students, we look only the 15% of the subject knowledge, remaining 85% we look into their attitude. Please remember that. And the concept of lifelong learning, it is very, very important, not only for the students, for the faculty also. Lifelong learning skill, it is specifically required. The current competitive world, without lifelong learning skill, you cannot survive in the industry in the good way. Thank you.
Mr. Anthony, there is a myopia among the faculty members. We used to think that you may not entertain us for our learning programs. Hope that there are a lot of faculties who knock you for the learning programs. Okay. Thanks for sharing your idea. So let me welcome Mr. Karthi.
So as per my view, already Voltas, the division where I belong to, textile machinery division and mining division, we already started collaborating with institutions for the curriculum design, and our many business colleagues already, they are working closely with major universities across India, and whatever the practical activities happening in the organization. So we ensure that faculties used to visit our premises and we put them into some kind of, the orientation program. So based on their experience, we design the curriculums. That's one thing which is happening. And whenever this campus happens, so, as we told that the attritions are more, and even if somebody joins within 3 months, 6 months, people, will go for the other opportunities. So we used to give feedback to the institutions on each and every candidate, because normally we will not hire bulk. So we hire 5-6 people from each college, and we know, about each candidate, and we used to give certain feedbacks. Based on the feedbacks, colleges also used to work, and then they will, make sure some kind of orientation given to the people just for the commitment and other factors. And the other point, what ma'am said, regarding sending the professors or the lecturers to corporate. So that's also one good idea. So more than that, you can try to look out for the professors directly from a corporate experience. So that's one thing which will really help you to, put some practical thought into the subject and curriculum. That's one way of doing it. That's what my one.
Good to hear, Karthi, your willingness to accommodate our faculties. Almost we are reaching to the end of the program. So we have two specific questions to the corporate. So after recruiting our students, what type of programs you have to make them to get developed continuously with reference to the learning and development program, and what percentage of the budget you use to allot for the learning and development?
In Kirloskar, we used to spend 2 to 5% of the salary of the employee to become the training budget. Once the person is placed as a fresher, we always ask the person to associate with the buddy. The manager will be take care of the things. The existing JD is very clearly defined. Somewhat the students are very fresh, so we can start to train on the job training activities is placed. And subsequently, we are once, suppose your position is critical, then the way of approach is entirely different. But your position initially, it will not be critical. In such a cases, we used to go with the on-the-job training with formal inductions. Everywhere we have conducted like that way. But one thing important, specifically I want to tell you that the person is appointed as a trainee, the company will not expect the person will get retired as a trainee. We want to become as a vice president to get retired from our company. That was the intention. So the career development plan, initially we used to ask the individual, what really you want? The ambition, what is your ambition? The time of interview itself we used to ask. Rightly said that some of the questions we asked the HR, the people thinking that the HR is asking some unwanted questions of ambition, they are going to fulfill my ambition. Not like that way. Once we get the ambition from your side, it also recorded in your resume, in your personal record. When the approach, when the way of presentation, when the way of your contribution is really good, it is in a positive way, then the career development plan will be executed by the HOD. The HODs has to take care of the career development plan. Then subsequently, what kind of competency lapses between the expected competency in the particular position at the existing level. So we can fix into the competency matrix that it will also focus to modify and change the training structure also. We used to do as a professional way, if you ask, this is the way we are doing that. So in Kirloskar, we recruited the people, school dropouts for our assembly process. In Coimbatore, Kirloskar is almost 100% women workforce in the assembly process. When we commencement of the factory, there was a productivity capacity, production capacity was per minute per pump concept. Per line 460 pumps will become out, 2 lines 900 something, it was the production capacity. But people are asking, sir, how you are going to reach the highest productivity with the qualification of 8th and 12th? Is it possible? Yes, it was happened. We made Limca book of record with the girls per minute 3 pump. None of the industry in Coimbatore, even not even in India, none of the industries get the output like that way. Per minute 3 pump we are assembled. The qualification of the people especially are 8th to 12th. Not more than, not even the engineer, not even the diploma holders. What I said that the way you are providing the training is very important. Yes, we are focused. We have set up the Bodhi, the Buddha God wisdom in the Bodhi. So that's why we have designed the training center, the name of Bodhi. It is a specifically 12 days training activities. We focus for each and every individual. And subsequently career development plan. And once you are appointed as a trainee, we should have a roadmap to reach the level of vice president. If you are associated, long association with the Kirloskar. This is the task in Kirloskar. Thank you.
Anthony, we really admire your support towards the development of the people. Right? With this, let's move to Karthik.
Yes. So this training again differs from industry to industry and company to company. So I'll just share my experience, what we are currently doing with Voltas. When the person joins, we put them into orientation that happens in all the organization. So post maybe 1 week or 10 days orientation, there will be a technical training calendar will be prepared, and there will be a group of people will be joined together, and there will be a mentor will be assigned to all the individuals for handholding, because handholding is one thing which is more important, because any individual comes to any new organization, it requires some time for them to get settled in the organization. So that handholding, we ensure that some senior colleagues will be doing a hand-holding with those, the new trainees or the new people. And in our organization, the training process will go for 6 to 8 months because the people have to work on the machines. We normally hire textile engineers and diploma with textile, specializations. And we put them into 6 to 8 months training into the plant and to the various sites, and then only we deploy them. Even after training, it's just like that. We will not throw them into the field. We still handhold them, till they get hands-on experience. And it is not that it's keep on multi-skilling will be there because we have some 5 to 6 different machines. So initially we will be giving one kind of, one mission, and after over a period of time there will be some multi-skilling will be given. So if the person goes to one customer, the customer will be having 5, 6 different machines. That one person can able to attend the issues of all the machines which is available in the customer side. That's one thing. Next, come to the other training part. There are 2 things which I want to tell you. One is the awareness program, and another one is the, the development training program or the behavioral training program. The awareness program means all this post, safety, and code of conduct. So these are all some awareness program which will be keep on, kind of refresher programs will be organized. So we have some bit-size modules, all the online platforms, so people can able to do their, programs at their convenient with the mobile, with the help of mobile app and technology. And next thing is about behavioral training and the developmental needs. So this behavioral needs, as Mr. Anthony said, we used to have this competency mapping matrix assessment. We used to identify the skill gap, and also during the annual PMS process, TNI managers used to give this TNI training need identification process, and we used to identify what are all the trainings need to be given to that particular individual for the financial year. That kind of trainings will be given to, we ensure the proper calendar should be derived, and all the people will be taking the trainings on those aspects. And in Voltas, on the leadership development perspective, we are having 3 different levels of perspective. So people, when they join at a junior management level. So we have a program called JMLP, it's a Junior Management Leadership Program. So it's kind of initial assessments will be there, and post which we will put them into various development programs with the help of various organizations of the training and development organizations. And similarly, MMLP, it's a middle management leadership program. Similarly, senior management leadership program. So for MMLP and SMLP, we put people into IIM Ahmedabad. We send people to IIM Ahmedabad for almost 15 days to 1 month of training program, where these people are majorly on the engineering background. So we just want to enhance their knowledge and just want to take the leadership position. It's important someone wants to know something about the management perspective. So for that reason, we put them into IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Delhi, and all those things. We ensure that people used to. These are certain development plans where we are following in Voltas. Thank you.
Yes, great, Karthi. Handholding is an important tool that will make any employees to fit into the organization and deliver a better result. So we are into network age. If we complete this session without touching a technology, this session will become incomplete. So what might be the real impact of the technology on teaching learning platform as well as an industry? So I want to get a quick insight also concluding message of this session. So let me welcome Mr. Devachanavadi for your opinion.
That's a topic which is very close to my heart because we understand technology. We are in an age where nobody has seen such rapid explosion of technology. Education or industry cannot be differentiated because technology is all pervasive. And we believe every technology is like a sword. You can use it for the right purpose, you can use it for the wrong purpose. Like fire, you can use to cook or you can burn down your entire house. But the fire has nothing to do with that. So every technology is like that. We strongly see this virtual world becoming very important in these days. So AR, VR, all these technologies actually will support education and industry in a very great way. IoT and Industry 4.0 have brought all these technologies onto a common table, and we are yet to discover what magic they will be able to play on the society. So that's my take on it.
So with this positive note, so let me get an opinion from Mr. Gopal.
Yeah, I think technology is going to play very important role whichever field you are in. Either you are engineering, medicine, or anything, accounting. Without catching up with the technology, it will be very hard to do your work, whatever you are currently doing. If you look at the medicine, how this technology has changed the world today. Even people understand there's an app on your phone, smartphone, which can actually measure your blood pressure, your diabetes, your anything like that's there on the app. And people are talking about driverless cars. It's all technology. So we talk about each and every industry. You have to be technology savvy. You have to work on the technology to be successful in your career, to be aligned with the industry. That's what my take is. Thank you.
Technology making people self-driven. That's what Sartan Sweet said. Yeah, great to hear, sir. Right now,
Intellectual and technology complacency is dangerous. Keep yourself relevant for tomorrow.
make use of the technology in the right way. It's very, very practical and need of the hour, madam. Thanks for sharing this ideology. So let me get an opinion from Anthony.
Without technology, the survival is the question mark for the industry. The best example is Nokia. There wasn't a keypad phone. They were the number one in the earth. But presently, the smartphone, now only the Nokia, the focus on the way. Without technology, even your individual way of development, rightly if you use the technology, you will grow in the positive direction. So use the technology in the proper, and the industry also in the focus to enhance the technology in the process.
Use the technology in the right way. Right? Okay, great.
Yes, technology is oxygen to any industry. So without technology, surviving is very difficult. And technology, yes, it's beneficial to in all the aspects to all the industries. And it's important that we need to, inculcate ourselves into technology. And also, if we are not updating ourselves in technology, then one thing is sure, we are out of the market, and out of the industry. So technology is very important, and please make sure that you all are equipped with well technology.
Thank you, Karthi. Use the positive side of the technology for the prosperous life. So with this, now we are entering into the session of question and answer. If at all, if you have any queries, the forum is open for questions. Yes, please. Somebody can give him a mic. Any volunteer? Any volunteer, can you pass this mic to him? Excuse me. Oh, sorry. My God.
Good morning, sir. So myself Darshan from CSE department. Today my question is about on which technology we students should focus on. So we all know that technology is the oxygen for the corporate, as I said, and also we know that technology is growing nowadays. So currently, which technology is at the peak, so that we can learn about it and we can focus on it for our placements and our upcoming careers?
This question is to any specific expert or anybody can answer?
No, sir, anybody can answer it.
If you ask me that which technology is going to get updated, whichever industry you want to adopt, you want to associate with the industry. Basically, if you ask me in the pump industry, is my case, the technology is artificial intelligence only the focus, automation is the second aspect. There is no need for IT culture in my industry's part. But that's the way, if you are really focused in the particular task, particular way of target, then you can enrich your knowledge towards the particular technology. If you ask me the common question, it is a very generic, but it is industry oriented. It always depending upon your choice. All it is in your hands. Wherever you want to sell. Now the scenarios get changed. When we had a discussion, simply said that the candidates get 3 or 4 offers in a hand. They can decide which company they want to select. The scenario was the company select A or B. They changed. Now the students can select the company. Such a way the market is open if you really competent. Please ensure that everybody is not get the 4 or 5 offers. No, only the competent person get the offer of 3 or 4 offers. That based on your attitude and the skill. I hope I cleared your doubt now.
Yeah,
Technology is no way it is connected with only industry.
Got it, sir.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Myself Yashit. I'm third year mechanical student. So my question is based on you said that the technology is we will choose first industries, right? My question is about automobile sectors. So in sectors in which the technology we will develop, sir.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Now to answer 2 or 3 of your queries in general, we see data analytics and machine learning coming across all industries, including mechanical, automobile, and kind of stuff. Specifically, automobile, electric vehicles is the future. A lot of thrust is being done. I think Maruti Suzuki is investing tens of thousands of crores in India. Mahindra is there. Tesla is planning to come. That's one area. Another area is an extension of CAD/CAM. So finite element analysis. From there, we are now going to digital twins. Simulation of cars and testing of cars are done on the software instead of the real car being destroyed or damaged in the test. So digital twin is one emerging area. The latest one which I heard from some of the industry experts is about software for cars. People are now moving towards specific operating system for each company. Volkswagen is designing its own. Suzuki is designing its own. So ability to write microcontroller control codes for automotive industry is emerging as a very specific area.
Okay, sir.
I mean, did we answer your question?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, Kana. Good
Sure.
day.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hi everyone, this is Ashwin from Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. So my question is regarding, we have a discussion regarding career development, because in my class that there are a lot of careers, it may be government jobs or private jobs, it may be entrepreneurship or higher education. But in jobs, always we prefer core, because I am an electrical department, they are automobile and mechanical. But nowadays the IT are more booming. But all are interested, it may be an SNS institution or any other institutions, always prefer ITs. But why not core? Is core still on trend, or is core as the present opportunities for the freshers? It's my question.
I'll start and pass it on to the industry
Why
people.
not core?
Yeah.
Why IT?
I like that question because those studying electrical or mechanical should not be competing in CSC. One good reason is without manufacturing, no product can come out of the into the market. So core is definitely having opportunities. But one thing what we noticed is because of this data science and other things, lot of opportunities are coming in computer science. That doesn't mean there are no opportunities in core subjects. All we need to know is, maybe I'm a mechanical engineer basically. Pure mechanical engineering might have a little less number of jobs than IT for sure. But if I know programming, if I know how to control systems, designing, then the opportunities are still the same. Like Anto was telling earlier, competencies, Tanithiramaigal. any software you are looking at, any specific skill in the industry, if we have it, I'm sure maybe for yours, one I could think of is a proficiency in MATLAB. You can go into any industry, electrical, electronics, mechanical, automobile, because that's a very demanding skill on simulations. So I would personally recommend starting salary for a core might be a little less than software, but over a period of time, the amount of money you get in core industry, you will never get it in software. And here you will see your product being launched and used by people. So that excitement is something very different. I would pass it on to industry guests.
It's interesting. One side, we are facing very challenging to find out the people from mechanical and electrical and textile background. One side, candidates are saying I'm not getting an opportunity in core companies. So this is what the gap which is been I want to highlight here. So as rightly said, salaries are quite attractive in IT industry. Not only the salary, even the work environment. So people are very much attached to that, and people want to live. But core company, it is not like that. So you have to work on the machines, you have to work on the shop floor, you have to handle the workers, laborers. So that's what people are not comfortable in doing such kind of activities nowadays. So I just want to tell, opportunities are more in core companies. People who are opted for some other core subjects, please wait till you get good core companies, because all the core companies are doing good now and they will do good. And we are still finding there is a difficult to identify the right candidates. So I hope I have answered for you.
One of the best questions, can you give him a big round of applause for him? One last question.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Myself, Bhavin Jasper from CSE department. As you discussed about we should cope up with lifetime learning skills, what suggestion will you give for us to cope up this habits like this? That's my question. Sorry?
Lifelong learning, any suggestions to make it possible, right?
How to practice that habit?
Yes.
That's right.
In many vision statements, they will say lifelong learning, etc. And many times we don't understand what is lifelong learning. What is lifelong learning is, I'd finish my degree and close the books and say I've done my learning. But every day am I learning, and till we die do we learn. Continuous learning is what we call as lifelong learning, because as we said, world is rapidly changing. So do I update myself, my intellectual, my skill, my enduring capabilities accordingly? Now that is the growth path that we need to take. Now how do I do it every day? As a student, how do we actually do it? As an administrator, how do I do it? As a faculty, how do I do it? Every day that curiosity to learn is the fundamental thing. When I hear something, do I go back and see something a little more? Do I read a little more? If I'm coming for a meeting like this, do I read and come? That's a curiosity to learn. Curiosity to learn, asking questions why. When you see something, why is it happening? Why is it that we don't join in core companies? Why is it that certain things are happening or not happening? That question everything which is there and try to find an answer. Because lifelong learning, yes, it is online courses, yes, it is attending a workshop, yes, it's sitting like this, but it's more personal. Because today, learning is also highly personalized. What you want will be very different from what I want. So half of you sitting here might be interested in what is happening here. Half of you might think, yeah, I know that, or maybe I am not looking at this, maybe I want to be an entrepreneur, maybe I don't even want to work, things like that. So personalized, continuous learning is lifelong learning. How do I take ownership of it? Every day, trying to update. Simple as read your paper every day, try to listen to NDTV, talk to some people as to why this is happening in this industry, talk to your faculty as to why is this formula working, or why is this formula not working, as simple as that. Ask a why question, build curiosity, try to find answers. That is what will build your critical thinking, that's also what will build your problem solving. So do that as every day. If I ask you how many of you read your paper today, I wouldn't know how many of you have done it. Start with that simple thing of understanding what is happening around the world. Thank you.
Good, I will also add some point. Madam Vigila, the lifelong learning is the attitude. Today, I have completed 43 years of teaching, 63 years of age, completed 21 PhD under my guidance. 9 candidates are doing their PhD, but today also I am learning. It is like, we were not seen what is a computer. Even I appeared for the exam without calculator. Without calculator, I appeared for the electrical machine design paper. And you have to have the attitude of lifelong learning. As Madam Vigila told correctly, it is your attitude, mindset. You have to learn. You have to think. How many of you are getting up early in the morning and learn for 1 hour or 2 hours what is the subject you are taught with. And when you grow up, how to learn. You have to learn lifelong, but you have to think that, you have to learn a lot of things. Like we were not knowing what is artificial intelligence, like fuzzy logic or neural network or genetic algorithm or ant colony system was not taught to me when I studied my engineering. But today I can write a lot of program in MATLAB or program in any of the artificial intelligence technique only by learning. As a teacher, when we come to the class, we prepare at least for 2 hours or 1.5 hours to take 50 minutes class, whether it is a professor or principal or associate professor or assistant professor. So it is the mindset you have to have and attitude to learn the things. Thank you. Now over to Babu.
Yeah, I'll just summarize what we were discussing here on the learning part. Can I go in Tamil? It's not a problem. Yeah, you're recording and putting it in some.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. எப்படி கத்துக்கிறது அப்படிங்கிறது தான் லைஃப் லாங்கா. நான் அதுக்கு ஒரு சின்ன உதாரணம் என்ன சொல்றேன் அப்படின்னா, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் நம்ம சைக்கிள் ஓட்டுனது இல்ல ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் பைக்கோ காரோ சக்சஸ்ஃபுல்லா ஓட்டுனது, இட் கேவ் யூ சம் ஹாப்பினஸ், ரைட்? லேர்னிங் ஷுட் கிவ் யூ ஹாப்பினஸ். லேர்னிங் ஷுட் பி ஏபிள் டு டச் யுவர் லைஃப். அந்த மாதிரி கத்துக்கிட்டீங்கன்னா lifelong learning is actually lifelong fun, lifelong joy. So how do we bring it to that point at the kelvi? Coursera la or certificate pannirkom, that's not important. What did you do with what Coursera taught you? That's important. Appo how do we start it? I will just tell you how I do it. If you like, you can take it. If I have to start walking, what should I do? I just have to stand up and start walking, right? So it starts with a determination or a willpower. First step. Now on the life la munnerno, I should come up in life. First step. Second, that will should have an action. Okay, you start doing it. Whatever it is, you just start doing it. Or an action repeated over a period of time becomes a habit. A habit repeated over a period of time becomes a character. And the character decides your destiny. So this is all we need to do. And if that becomes a character, like morning enthirichadum to brush your teeth, you don't really put it on a to-do list daily, right? It's a habit. It is part of your character that to clean yourself in the morning. And the madri, if we can bring lifelong learning, I think life will be wonderful. And if you know how to use what you learned, actually you will be wanting to learn more because you want to have that joy of learning. So happy learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for adding your experience on that.
Yeah. So before you close the session with the thanking note, as a token of appreciation and love, we request Dr. Chendur Pandian, Principal, SNSET, to hand over a small memento to Dr. Babu. Please hand it to. I request. Thank you, sir. Dr. Charles, Principal, SNSE, to hand over this memento to Mr. Gopal Gar. Thank you. Dr. Tamil Chelvan, VP, SNSET, to hand over the memento to Dr. Vijila. Thank you. Dr. Vivekanandan, VP, SNSET, to hand over a memento to Dr. Vishaka Murthy. Thank you. Dr. Sudhakaran, VP, SNSE, to hand over a memento to Mr. Antine Bhaskar. Thank you. Dr. Prakash, Director of iHub, to hand over the memento to Mr. Karthik. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Over to Dr. Vishaka Murthy. You can go.
With this, we have reached to the end of the program. You are all here with an intention of learning something. Incidentally, this panel was concluded with the last question of learning. I hope this is a deeper explanation. This day will be a great day and great start, all of you. All the best. I thank SNS institution for extending all the support and become a knowledge partner for this. So I also extend my gratitude to Mr. Gopal for his support to make this program in a great extent. I also thank CEO Mr. Satish Talk. He is the man behind for all these programs. Can you extend a big round of applause for him? Without him, this may not be possible. I extend my sincere thanks to all these panelists. So all the great people, in spite of all this assignment and work schedule, they agreed to come and given an excellent delivery on that. Just give him a big round of applause. So I thank all the higher authorities of SNS institutions who have come over here to grace this function. At last, I thank all the participants. Without you, that nothing will happen. Hope today will be a day for your learning. Thank you so much for all of you. Thank you, right.